Polyurethane is a great finish, but there are certain characteristics that you need to grasp in order to assure a high quality professional looking finish. Hi, I'm Paul. I'm a woodworker. I've been making sawdust and applying finishes for over 40 years. My channel is devoted strictly to wood finishing. In this video, we'll explore the important characteristics and choices when using polyurethane. Things like which is better, oil or water-based polyurethane. I'll show you three examples, the three types of Sheens, and I'll show you examples of each side by side. We'll review the importance of thinning to avoid bubbling. We'll discuss the number of coats you need to put down. I'll explain to you why fast dry is a manufacturer's hype and actually a detriment to achieving a good finish. I'll show you a comparison side by side of brush on versus wipe on. One might be better for your particular project. All this and more. So before you run off to your local paint store, hardware store, or big box store, make sure you watch this video. If you're new to polyurethane, make sure you watch this all the way through, so you can avoid watching my other video, which is called Fixing Polyurethane Bubbles, Puddles, Runs, and Brush Marks. It has over 500,000 views, so that tells you a lot of people are making mistakes when they apply polyurethane. Again, a great finish, but you need some basics with it. So with that, let's get started. Let's talk about polyurethane. It's by far the biggest seller of all clear wood finishes out there. It outsells every other product combined. So polyurethane is very popular. It's a great finish. There's nothing wrong with it. It's durable. It's inexpensive. With a little bit of knowledge, you can make it look like a very professional finish. Now, people have a lot of problem with polyurethane. I actually made a video. I'll put a link to it up in the corner if you're one of those that need help with it. It's called Fixing Polyurethane Bubbles, Puddles, Runs, and Brush Marks, which are all common occurrences with polyurethane. Polyurethane coming out of the can is just too thick. It needs to be thinned. So I explain in my two videos. I have two videos, and I'll put those on links as well, on wiping on and brushing on polyurethane. We'll talk about that in just a second. I'll show you a few samples of the two. But polyurethane requires a little bit of skill level. Not difficult. I mean, if you're reasonably handy, well, with wipe on you don't even have to be reasonably handy, but if you're reasonably handy, you can do a good job of it. People just need to have proper guidance in it. So the instructions on the can aren't right, and there's even some videos out there that I don't know. I think somebody applied polyurethane and they were happy with the finish and they made a video on it. But it's all loaded with mistakes. And then, of course, then I get the questions, how do you fix it? Too much. I'm going off on a tangent. All right. So with a reasonable bit of knowledge, you can get a professional looking finish on it. Polyurethane is waterproof. It's heat resistant. It cleans easy. It always looks fresh. And there's really no maintenance on polyurethane. Once you apply it, it's a tough finish. It'll take a lot of abuse. And so I recommend using this like for kitchen tables, for desks, for floors, for stairs, for railings, window sills and sashes, chairs, bar countertops, wood trim. It's a great finish for that. So again, just you need to know a little bit about it. We always thin polyurethane. It's too thick out of the can to deliver you a good coat. So we thin it, and I show you how to thin it in the videos. Durability on polyurethane is built up in coats. All our finishes are built up in coats. The key, my mantra is lay it on thin. That means thinning the product before you use it, and that means applying very thin coats. So we build. Durability comes with thickness. Thickness is built up in multiple layers. And there's a little preparation in between each layer. And so we go through all that. So the next thing is water versus oil-based polyurethane. And there's advantages and disadvantages to both. By far, I do recommend oil-based polyurethane, especially for newbies. One of the key reasons water-based polyurethane dries, it evaporates to touch quicker than 3 times quicker than oil-based polyurethane. Water-based polyurethane takes about 5 minutes to become tacky. whereas oil-based polyurethane takes about 15 minutes under normal temperature and humidity conditions to become tacky. The extra time with manufacturers try to sell fast drying as a plus, to me it's a negative. The extra time allows the tiny bubbles to pop. It allows the brush marks to level off so that you don't end up with marks. It allows any puddling to kind of settle out. So the time, the additional setup time actually works to your advantage, not to your disadvantage. So oil is tougher. It's a tougher finish. Water-based polyurethane is a little more brittle. So what it will do in time, it'll have a tendency to crack. And so whereas oil-based polyurethane remains a little softer, it expands and contracts a little bit better. So it doesn't have the same propensity to crack. All surface coatings, so we're going to talk about varnish now, we're going to talk about polyurethane. You should do all sides of them because, again, what a coating does is it lays on the surface. So what's going to happen is air can't get down to the grain once it dries completely. And so wood with seasons expands and contracts. So when it's dry in the wintertime, it tends to contract. And when moisture comes in, it fills up and if you do the top side and don't do the bottom side is going to expand a lot faster than the top side, so that'll cause cracking. So with any of the surface coatings, it needs to be a wrap. So you need to do as much as you possibly can to seal all sides of it. So not just one side. Oil is more heat resistant. It's not totally UV resistance, but if sunlight's coming into your dining room, water, it'll damage water-based polyurethane a lot faster than it will oil-based polyurethane. Again, neither polyurethane is recommended for outdoors. They do have an outdoor exterior variety. I don't recommend it. I recommend you go to varnish then, and we'll talk about that in a little while. So the cons of polyurethane, we talked about all the benefits. It's difficult to apply. It requires some knowledge to apply it. What I meant to say is it's difficult to repair. Once you put a scratch in polyurethane, with some of the other coatings, like oil finishes, you can just sand a little bit and then put a fresh layer of oil over that area. With polyurethane, you almost have to remove the whole surface coat on it. So it's difficult to repair. It's not food safe. So you can eat on it. I mean, I'm not saying that, but you shouldn't be cutting on it because it's a petroleum-based product and the resin is a plastic-based product. So you don't want to get, so any shavings that would come off the polyurethane are not healthy. It does off gas for about 3 to 4 weeks. So the solvent that keeps the resin in liquid form so that you can apply it, it takes about 3 to 4 weeks to cure all the way through. It dries to touch in a half hour. It dries to recoat in about 3 to 4 hours. I wait overnight, but it dries to recoat in about 3 to 4 hours. But it still continues to let off gases, and those gases are petroleum based. So if you're a real green person or you can't stand odors, there's a downside to it. Polyurethane is a plastic resin, so it has a plastic look to it, and so a lot of people resent that. A lot of professional woodworkers or hobby woodworkers resent the fact that it has that plastic look to it. I don't agree with that, but I think with a proper coating and the proper procedures, you can make it look pretty darn good. It does have a little, I mean, there's nothing more beautiful than a nice oil finish, but polyurethane is certainly acceptable. Okay, I'm going to show you some different things here about polyurethane. So I'm going to flip on a light, which will make me look kind of funny, I think, but I think it'll help us with seeing. So the first, let's talk about gloss. Polyurethane comes in 3 glosses. This is a satin gloss. Satin gloss today in today's market most furniture today is a satin sheen. In the old days, it used to be high gloss. You wanted to see the depth of the wood. You want to be able to see your face in the wood, and etc. So it was high gloss. This is a satin sheen. You can see by the light. The light is kind of hazy around the edges. It doesn't really bounce back a lot of light. This is a semi-gloss, and you can there you go. I can see the difference. I can begin to see the light bulb on it. Okay, so and then this is a high gloss, and so the reflection of the light becomes more pinpoint rather than spread out. A misnomer about high gloss finishes: people think, well, if I put a high gloss finish on it, it's gonna be really deep and reflective. It's gonna look like a baby grand piano with a high gloss finish on it. Be careful, because that's not true. If you put a gloss finish on an old-fashioned washboard, it's going to look like an old-fashioned washboard, with a shiny old-fashioned washboard. It's not going to fill all the dents and all the grooves. I have here an example. The one on my well, I don't know left or right, but look, I do know left or right, but on video. So this is a gloss finish on a piece of this happens to be on ash, that I really didn't do anything other than sand it down to a 220 grit and then applied the finish. And so I don't know if you can tell, but it's not really deep nor reflective. It's not really deep nor reflective. You can see the grain patterns in here where the light stops. Okay, this was not filled. On this side, what I did is, and this is what you have to do, what you have to do is you have to first close off the pores, because the pores on this side, the wood pores are open. There's little holes in the wood where water can go in and out. That's how the wood lives and gets nutrients. So you have to seal those off. Then you have to fill the grain to make it nice and smooth. Okay, this happens to be only 3 coats of gloss polyurethane. So now if I keep going, if I go to 4 coats, 5 coats, 6 coats, 7 coats, depending on how much it takes, some people go up in the teens with coats. The more coats that I put on, the more the light will bounce back at you. So the more it'll be that high gloss, real deep, reflective finish, where this one, I could put all the coats in the world and it's not going to get much better than this. Which brings me to another point. I've had people ask me, well, if I just puddle polyurethane on, will it fill all the dents? No, it will not. It will never do that. Polyurethane is not a wood filler. Even the thickest coat is microscopic, so it isn't going to fill any dents or any pores or anything else. Let's talk a little bit. I want to show you a little bit about water versus oil polyurethane. And on this side, I used an oil-based polyurethane. On this side, I used a water-based polyurethane. Now, one of the advantages, there's 2 advantages to water-based polyurethane as far as I'm concerned. Number one, when you have to clean your brushes and stuff like that, you can just go right to your sink and do it, just with water. Whereas when you have to clean your brushes with oil, first you have to get all the oil stuff out of there. So you have to use a petroleum. You have to use like a paint thinner or mineral spirits or turpentine or one of those things. So the difference is water is clear. So what it does is it keeps the wood a little bit whiter than oil, which oil by nature has an amber cast to it. So this is going to be a little more yellow than that. So I don't know, it isn't, I wasn't really, this is on maple, which is a very white wood. It's a very hard wood, very white wood, but there's minimal difference in the two. Okay. So again, if I had to make a choice, I would choose the oil finish. Now, polyurethane, I have 2 videos out. The one on this side was a polyurethane that I wiped on with a rag. Okay, so it didn't require any brushes. It's real easy, and it's pretty foolproof. It's pretty hard to screw this one up. The rag is best used on smaller surfaces, only because I think it's a lot easier to control with a brush on larger surfaces. And I think this is a brush on, and really, there's no difference. Okay, so this one we thin a lot more so that we can wipe it on. This one is thin like 75-25. This one's thin 50-50. So that's the big difference. And again, in the video, I'll show you how to make this, how to apply it, how to store it, all that other stuff. In this one, I'll show you how to brush it on, get your brushes ready, etc. So again, I'll put them in the corner, or it'll be on the bottom of the video. So what did I miss about polyurethane? I don't think so. It's a good finish. It's a good choice finish. It does well. It requires a little bit of knowledge, but other than that, I mean, for most practical uses, it's good. Not an outdoor product though. Okay, that's it. I hope you learned something. If you did, please like, and if you want more, subscribe. I'm going to put two links, end screens at the end of this video. One will be on brushing on polyurethane, the other will be on wiping. I recommend that you brush on for medium to large size product, and you wipe on for smaller projects. Wipe on is good if you have to do like spindles and things where brushing is hard to get at. So that's it. Happy woodworking. Hope you don't. Hope everything goes well and you don't have to watch my other video fixing polyurethane bubbles, puddles, runs, and brush marks. Have a good one. Happy woodworking. See you later.